The unique thing about this company and the culture and who we are is when this company started, it was a dream. There was passion in it. And here we are 25 years later on a much grander scale. We still have the connection as if we were a 2 or 3 man operation. When we wake up in the morning, we're passionate about what we do. The day starts to happen, the production comes in, one by one, the office staff is here answering phone calls, preparing paperwork. Crews are rolling out, driving all over Middle Tennessee. When a customer reaches out, what happens is a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that they don't realize. That phone call or web form comes into our call center where these wonderfully talented individuals take that call, find a time that works for our customer to meet with them, and we set an appointment for the project manager to come out. The purpose of our project manager is to be a problem solver, to come out there and understand the emotional needs of the customer and the fact that their greatest investment, their home, is experiencing some type of water issue or structural issue or maybe uneven concrete. So when a project has been contracted and a customer is waiting for United Structural Systems crews to come out, this is when the magic starts to happen. The office is preparing the paperwork, making sure all notes, all photos, and all details are communicated so that when the crew arrives to meet the customer, it's as if the project manager is there doing the work himself. Preparing for that job is another unique part of what United Structural Systems does. We run a second shift. Our second shift is preparing the truck that's going to be delivering the men and equipment to do the work the night before. They have a punch list, they have a work order, so that when that foreman arrives the next morning to start your job, his truck is loaded, his paperwork is in his hand, a team leader, a veteran, is there going over the paperwork with him. It's a fluid, seamless operation. What a customer contracts with United Structural Systems, many times what they don't realize is they are getting an elite team who's passionate about what they do and realize their focus is not on speed and on profit, but their reward is based on customer satisfaction. So the type of people that we employ here at United Structural Systems is the key success to why we've been able to grow as a company over the last several decades. We're looking for folks who have heart, who have passion, have an aptitude, an ability to learn. The majority of the folks that we hire here are family people. And it only makes sense because we're going out to work on a home where a family lives. And so when our crews arrive and they see a different type of person, a person who cares, a person who's happy, when they look at employees that are working side by side in the heat or in the rain, jackhammering, digging, it's tough physical work. But yet the type of folks that United Structural Systems has been able to develop and grow and hire is folks who willingly come to work every day excited about what they do. They begin to create a culture and a love and an amount of respect back for this company that they give all of our customers the utmost respect and quality work that can be done.
Welcome. Before we get started, I think it's important to first recognize and thank the I-24 Church for loaning us the building this morning. It's a really nice venue in here, and the air conditioning is good too, right? All right, okay. Don't be afraid to talk back. There you go. I appreciate that. I do have two quick things, though. I do want to talk about the church this morning. The first one is there's a daycare that's in operation right now at the other end of this building. So when we leave here, please drive slow and with caution because there could be children being dropped off or maybe one that climbed over the fence trying to get away, and we sure don't want to hurt anybody here. The other one is anything that you brought in with you, whether it's a cell phone, uh, what would it be? Maybe keys, purse. Okay, I can't believe you said yes to that, but I appreciate you. Um, and trash. Please take it. Please take it out with you. Now, I've got one more thank you, a special thank you actually, to Nathan Loxley for all of your help and patience over the last few days. Nathan's donated his personal time in helping us with this presentation. So again, Nathan, thank you. All right, why are we here? Why are we here? Before I go much further, yeah, right there it is, right? That's why we're here, so y'all could read that. Before I go much further, I got to put an end to some rumors, okay? Because everybody's kind of wondering why we're here. There's been a couple rumors that I heard about today's special company-wide meeting. First rumor, they're giving away a car. Sorry, Michelle. Yeah, that was Michelle. We're not giving away a car. Then I heard, I bet there's going to be bonuses and door prizes. Man, we didn't even spring for coffee and snacks this morning, so there is no bonuses and no door prizes. But there's probably going to be a casino. Outside those double doors is just children getting their diapers changed. There's no casino out there. So, but today's gathering is, however, a special day, and that we're going to share with you a story. The story is about dreams. It's about opportunities. It's about the future. The story is not just a story, it's really the next chapter in the overall story of USS. So again, I draw your attention to the screen behind me. Why are we here? Before I talk about why are we here, I think it's important to understand where we came from. Now, at this time, I'd like to welcome Valerie Buck to the stage. Valerie's the marketing coordinator here at USS. Valerie has written many articles for the company over the last several months, and she recently wrote an article that touches on the early years of USS.
Thank you. In the late 1980s, Mike Smith and coworker Sam Lockhart, who previously owned a waterproofing company, acknowledged a shared vision and brought it to life. Deciding to combine their fields of expertise in masonry and waterproofing in May of 1989, the two formed the Indiana-based foundation repair company, United Dynamics Incorporated. Over the years, the duo wanted to expand the business, but they agreed that the company name did not describe what they did or support their vision to branch into other markets. So founders Mike and Sam teamed up with entrepreneurs in Chicago, Illinois, and Lexington, Kentucky, and set their sights on Nashville, Tennessee, to encompass all that they wanted to do in foundation repair in these new cities. In 1992, Chris moved to Nashville, Tennessee to attend college. It was at Trevecca University that Chris moved from production to selling jobs out of his dorm room. And it wasn't long before his remote efforts achieved for him the title of regional manager in Tennessee and Kentucky. As business grew with Chris succeeding in Nashville, Mike saw the opportunity to fully introduce the vision of a dependable foundation repair company that homeowners could trust in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. On June 23, 1994, founder Mike Smith and Chris Smith launched foundation repair and waterproofing company United Structural Systems Incorporated, known as USS, in Tennessee. In the first year of business, USS outfitted a 6 to 8 person crew from Indiana that soon grew to 10 USS employees. This enabled them to discontinue the use of Indiana crews who were traveling from Indiana to Tennessee to complete USS projects and organize their own production crews in Tennessee. USS leads increased for Chris, and work eventually took precedent over his college studies. After 4 years of business courses at Trevecca, Chris relocated off campus to become a part-time college student so that he could buy into the ownership of USS. In 1996, Chris Smith moved from sales to co-owner, and the Whites Creek, Tennessee-based operation where Chris resided became the new home office for USS in Tennessee. In 1999, Chris convinced his father of the need to further invest in Nashville and better serve Middle Tennessee by severing ties with the Indiana offices. USS had utilized UDI with Shannon's help to manage the payroll, phones, and other administrative needs remotely until October 31st, 1999. On this date, Shannon moved to Whites Creek, Tennessee to take over these administrative roles from her new home office, which was half a mile down the street from Chris's house and the shop where USS crews operated. Mike cut ties with the northern companies he helped organize, and in spring of 2000, he and his wife Janice moved south to reunite with children Chris and Shannon in their efforts to keep up with the growth of USS. In the early 2000s, Shannon Carter and Kenny Williams attained co-ownership. In less than 20 years, USS expanded its team to over 100 employees and added other services, such as earth retention, micropiles, concrete lifting, and encapsulation. The influx in hiring and development during this time prompted and required a move from the Whites Creek, Tennessee home office to Boat Factory Road in Pleasant View, Tennessee. The larger piece of property became home to USS in April of 2003, suiting their necessary expansion. Here, owner Chris Smith was able to form a second company on the premises in 2012. Titan Products allowed the Smiths to make the products utilized by USS, helping cut costs and manage their quality control. I didn't dream it would become what it is today. I didn't know we would leave Indiana and grow the business to this size in Tennessee, reflects Mike Smith. Mike's dreams of making a living as an entrepreneur naturally merged with a passion for hiring and developing people. The creation of the USS mission statement, improving lives by guaranteeing our best, says it best. Not only did Mike continually strive to offer his best to homeowners through USS services, but his desire to see the USS team, to help his team, guide his team to succeed, was just as important. Both his vision and his efforts resulted in the evolution of a highly esteemed company focused on customer service and integrity, the best in their field, as well as a company culture designed to improve the lives of all the individuals of the USS family. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. USS is celebrating 28 years of being in business. We've been blessed with good people. Good people propel a company forward, and that action is called growth. For 28 years, USS has experienced some level of growth every year. Now, sometimes growth is, in the early days, it was just adding a new tool. In the early days, that was a shovel. There was a meeting to buy a new shovel. We were that small. Then it turned into a new piece of equipment, and then a truck. The adoption of technology soon happened. We bought a fax machine. A fax machine. Then after that, a multi-purpose copier that scanned and it printed, and it too had a fax machine. Growth is a part of adding new employees. It then led to moving to a new office, a shop, then adding more trucks and hiring more people. Growth, it was creating a marketing plan that drove in more leads. More leads requires more salespeople. More salespeople creates more sales. More sales creates a need for more crews. More crews create the need for more people and more trucks. Growth is also adding on and remodeling your shop and office. Growth then was adding new services, which opened up more opportunities and more people and more trucks and more technology. And the cycle, it just keeps going on. But growth isn't always about sales and production and other tangible assets. There's an intangible part of growth, which is maturity or experience. And this is priceless. So, what do you do when you have something priceless? You dream bigger. We started the meeting off with why are we here? Now I'd like to tell you about where we are going. I've said it many times in the sales meetings and at the end of the year, the Christmas party, that what got us here won't get us where we're going. That's why I want to share with you the dream and the vision that we have for USS. Now, just like I've said, what got us here won't get us where we're going, I've also closed out a meeting or two by saying we are a great company because we are made up of great people. Now, these great people that I'm talking about, they're not just the people that are on the stage with me this morning. They're made up of everybody in here. It's you. Great people fuel growth. The product of growth is opportunity. So if we want to cash in this priceless experience and accept the blessings, we better have a plan. For years, Mike has nurtured this company with his wisdom and leadership skills. He has brought to this company a library of books, such as The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, Good to Great by Jim Collins, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell, Emotional Intelligence by David Walton, and the list goes on. A year ago, traveling with Titan Products and visiting other foundation repair companies, I came across a book. And this book was written by a gentleman by the name of Gino Wickman. As I read it, I realized it had all of the components of Mike's library packaged into one book that utilizes a tool called EOS. EOS is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. You see, the bigger a company gets, the more complex it becomes. And this can lead to complacency, a lack of communication, and confusion inside the company. So with EOS, we're adopting what this is teaching. And what we're learning is to focus on 6 key components of a business. The first component is vision. It states it's 8 questions and it's shared by all. The 8 questions are, what are your core values? What is your core focus? What's your long-term goal? What's your marketing strategy? What's your 3-year picture? What's your 1-year plan? What are your quarterly rocks? And how are you going to handle issues? Once we work on these, which we're going to share these with you here in just a minute, we do exactly what I just said. We're sharing them. We're sharing what we're going through, what we're experiencing as a company, because you're going to start hearing more and more about this. This next component is people. So we've got this vision, and then we add people. And the people part is having the right people in the right seat. People who share our core values, people who are a fit of our culture. people that have skill and experience to excel at their job. Basically, people who get it, want it, and have the capacity to do it. The next component in this is data. Data is the use of scorecards and measurables. Now, there's 7 to 5 indicators that give us the pulse of the company. These are leads, our cost per lead, our closing percentage as a company, individual closing percentages, weekly production, individual weekly production, revenue, accounts receivable, customer complaints. These are all the things that we gather in our scorecards, our measurables. The next item is issues. I don't understand this because we've really never had issues in this company. Go ahead and laugh just for a second. Make me feel a little better. I need to yawn. Okay, all right, I'll keep going. We have issues. And this issues list and this IDS. Issues are real problems that must be solved. They're information that must be shared. And it's communication about ideas and opportunities. It says up here, IDS, that's identify, discuss, and solve. The next one is processes. Processes are documented and followed by all. Processes are SOPs. It's the consistency in our product. Finally, we have traction. It's about rocks and meeting poles. Now, when I say rocks, I'm not talking about the gravel that we drive on. Rock is about 15 to 20 things that we determine are the most critical for us to work on the company over the course of the next year. And the quarterly rock is taking about 3 to 7 of these and working on them over a 90-day period. Rocks must be accomplished. Then we have the meeting pulse. It's a set agenda. It's on a set day at a set time where we stay focused to what's important. The goal is solving problems. The worst thing we can do is decide to do nothing at all. We're going to pull up what we call a VTO, but before we go through that, we have our core values, right? When we went back to the vision, we talked about there were 6 components. There was the vision, there was the people, there was the data, there was the issues, there was the processes, and then there was traction. But under the vision, it talked about these 8 questions. And the first one is, what are your core values? At USS, our core values is be respectful and humbly confident. It's be committed to our customer. It's be a problem solver. And it's do our job with excellence. Now, to be respectful and humbly confident, sometimes I think of like Chick-fil-A. They have great service, but it's not just a service that's great. Every time I say thank you, their response is, my pleasure. They're respectful. They're consistent. They have great service. When I think of being respectful, I think of walking into somebody's home and taking off my shoes if they're dirty before I go in. When I think of humbly confident, that's a tough one. That's the ability to walk the line between weakness and arrogance while earning trust. Being committed to our customer. It's the right thing to do. It's not always about the dollar. Our purpose is a referral from every customer and a client from every referral. Be a problem solver. Obviously, the opposite of that is a problem maker, and that's not who we are. We're a problem solver. We listen to understand. We're patient while pursuing a winning outcome. And then finally, do your job with excellence. The only way I can sum that up is don't be a half-ass. The next one is core focus. Our core focus here at USS, a lot like our mission statement, is improving lives by doing the right things. Our core focus is also keeping homes dry and stable. Our 7-year target is $42 million in sales in 5 different markets while focusing on career opportunities for our valued employees and revolutionizing the customer experience. Our go-to market strategy, these are things that we are working on. We have what's called B2C. That means the business, USS, to the customer, the consumer. And that in our case would be homeowner. Obviously, who is it? It's homeowners. We've identified that our marketing goes towards women 35 to 65 of age, household income of $125,000. Then they have the B2B side. That's the B, the business, to the B, the other businesses that we work for. And those are property managers, realtors, builders, and inspectors. Our go-to market strategy currently is Middle Tennessee when we look at our geographic area. Now that includes Southern Kentucky, and we're approaching soon this year to start branching into Northern Alabama. Thus the setup for our Lewisburg-Belfast office location. Now the psychographics, when we're looking at the marketing side to this and we're looking at our customer, the psychographic of the homeowner, they're afraid and they're fearful, right? They need help. They're looking to trust somebody, and they're wanting to protect their priceless investment. They're wanting to restore their home. We have 3 unique factors here at USS. We are not a franchise. We solve, we don't sell, and we don't take a down payment. That can't be said for the majority of our competition. We have a guarantee. You've probably heard it. You can hear it on the radio. You'll hear it in TV commercials. It's we guarantee our best. Now, we're looking at our 3-year target. We're wanting $30 million in sales in 3 different markets. What does that look like? We're working on a USS University. We need to be repeatable and reliable with our processes. We're going to have 200 employees. We're going to have 40 production crews. We're going to have a corporate call center. We're going to have in-house marketing. And we want to work on a 40% close as well as mastering the art of diagnosing. We're also going to have managers in each of these 3 new markets, smarter phone technology in our office tied to our database system. We want to centralize a HR, admin, and accounting. We want to bring in-house IT, job type experts, both in production and in sales. We're going to have an in-house engineer. Our 1-year target, $25 million in sales in 2 different markets. The goals, increase ROI, that's a return on our investment with our marketing budget. Production processes, we want them identified, documented. FBA stands for followed by all. We want our sales process identified, documented, and also followed by all. We're going to increase to 90 plus crew members. We want to focus on what we call RPRS, the right people in the right seat. And we want to create and operate off of a new company budget. Now, accountability chart is like a supersized organizational flow chart because it absolutely crystallizes everyone's roles and responsibilities. It establishes clear ownership of accountability for everything that is important to this business. Now, every company has at least 3 functions. Everybody has sales and marketing, companies do. Everybody has production, and every company has finance and HR. Now, when we look at those 3 functions, USS recognizes that we have a need for more than just 3. We have a need for marketing. Why? Because we're already spending $2+ million. We have a need for sales. Why? Because we currently have 13 to 15 salespeople, and we're going to be adding more. We have a need for an administration operation. Why? Because we take over 10,000 phone calls a year, and we have in our database over our history 30,000 completed customers and growing. We have a production operations need. Why? Because we've got 28 crews performing $20 million in revenue. We decided that we need training. Why? Because we have over 120 employees and we are growing and going to be growing in new locations. Financing and HR, thousands of transactions, hundreds of vendors, multi-state compliance, and the list goes on. We need an integrator. We need somebody who can work with the previous descriptions that I just mentioned, somebody that understands every one of those seats, the sales, the marketing, the admin, the production, the training, and the HR. We need somebody that understands what every single one of these people, these seats, are going to be holding. And this person must also be loved by all. And finally, we see the need for the 8th spot, visionary. Somebody free to dream for this company. At this point, it is my honor to introduce to you the executive team of USS. To date, they have tackled over 200 to-dos, 27 rocks, while managing 14 measurables, in addition to their own job description. They are committed to the company and to each other. We deal with conflict, but with the understanding that everything that we do is for the greater good of the company. We have Chris Vitito, marketing. We have Chris Vitito for sales. We have Shannon Carter, administration operation. Ricky Barnes, training. Jason Suter, production operations. Lee Boucher, financing and HR. Rob Myers as the integrator. Myself as the visionary. At this point, I'd like to ask Chris Vitito to address the room.
Thank you, Chris. It's my pleasure to be here today. You know, as Chris said, we are a growth company, and that's a really valuable proposition for all of us. Not many companies out there are actually committed to growing the company and investing into the business and also investing into its people, and that's what USS does. So I'm going to give you a little bit about my background and what my role and responsibility is going to be here as I sit in this seat. I'm Director of Business Development. I sit in the seat of Sales and Marketing, as Chris said. I've been here for a year and a half. I'm the new guy in the executive group, and I've had the privilege of getting to know a lot of people here. I don't know everybody, but seeing the culture we have here has been tremendous. My time here has been fun. It's been challenging. It's been really crazy at times, but it's also been very rewarding. Before joining USS, I spent the past 30 years in sales management, and business development roles. In those roles, I've been tasked with meeting sales quotas. I've been tasked with executing sales strategies and developing growth plans for the organizations I worked for. On a personal level, I enjoy coaching. Coaching is my passion. I've coached youth programs, I've coached high school programs, I've worked with college athletes, and I do it because I love teaching, I love developing, I love seeing people have success. That passion is also carried over into my professional life, where I've helped companies lead professional development programs. And of course, being a coach, you know I love sports. At an early age, I loved being a part of a team. I love that team atmosphere. I love that camaraderie. I love seeing people work together and work for each other, not against each other, to strive toward a common goal. I really feel like we have a very strong team here at USS in every department. And that's why I'm so excited about about EOS. EOS delivers results and it creates opportunities. I truly believe as we go forward, EOS will be a game changer for United Structural Systems. So how will sales and marketing impact USS and our long-term goals? It's a synchronized approach. Sales and marketing is responsible for increasing revenue, strengthening our brand, and developing new opportunities in the marketplace. How do we do this? We do this through our people, our products and our solutions, the marketing intelligence we gain, the technology we have, and customer service. Organizations that have alignment between sales and marketing throughout their entire process grow faster and increase in revenue faster. This approach we're talking about is much, much bigger than a few ad campaigns and a few sales. This approach has an impact on the entire customer journey. That customer journey, it's a series of touch points that a customer may have with marketing, sales, production, and our customer service departments. That journey is unique to every customer. It's individual. That's where we take them from awareness to loyalty. And that's what we're striving for. As we work together to meet our 7-year goals of $42 million in sales and being in 5 markets, new opportunities will come with USS. And so how will that impact you? In marketing, Valerie and I work hand in hand on a daily basis and sometimes at night, managing all of our campaigns so that we can be top of mind in the marketplace. This 7-year growth model we're talking about is going to give us the opportunity to revolutionize how we do our business. Instead of us depending on multiple outside partners to execute the work and that we work with and have to manage, we're now going to be able to hire our own internal marketing team that will be 100% committed to USS, not working for other companies, that will be 100% focused on the benefit of our goals. Those positions could include content creation, web development, SEO management, social media management, Google Ads management, data analytics, reporting, and I could go on and on. I don't know what those positions will be at this point in time, but I do know they're coming. So the question is who's going to fill those seats? In sales, our salespeople here work in a very, very competitive marketplace. They're stressed, they're challenged, but they're also rewarded. It is not easy to do what they do. They are asked to drive revenue for our company. They are also asked to be customer-centric. Our competition isn't the same. Our competition is not customer-centric. So we differentiate ourselves there. They are problem solvers. So as a problem solvers, they don't just make a sell, they make a difference. And make no mistake about it, I'll brag on the guys for a minute. They are the most talented, the most committed, the most experienced, and the most capable team in Middle Tennessee. And we're fortunate to have them. And for USS to reach our long-term sales goals, it's imperative that we build up our current team and branch out into new marketplaces. Project managers, we will provide you the tools and technology you need so you will be successful and have the highest level of performance. In the near future, we will be adding new products and services, which for you means more opportunities to solve problems and more opportunities to close sales. We're committed. We're committing to giving you what you need to win. New opportunities are coming for project managers who will fill those seats and help us reach our $42 million in sales. So with more sales, more markets, more project managers, we're going to need more project coordinators. The project coordinator sometimes gets overlooked in our sales process. It's a very vital role in helping us reach our goal and supporting our sales team. Michelle does a tremendous job supporting our sales team today. And Michelle and I have talked, and she knows that there's growth opportunities that could come her way with this. And we're excited for that opportunity. As we reach and go into new markets, each market we go into, there easily could be a project coordinator for that market, or maybe even a team of coordinators for that market. In addition to the project coordinators, we are looking to expand our opportunities with business-to-business sales. As we do that, as we grow in that market, we're going to have a need for account managers. The account manager's role is specifically designed to manage the individual needs of each business we serve. Impacting sales and customer satisfaction is what they do. Who will fit the seat of a project coordinator and account manager? The last part of our 7-year goal speaks to revolutionizing the customer experience. This is something that's very important to me. In my 30 years, as sales has evolved over time, this is a difference maker for our organization. Let's face it, we're in the contractor business. The contractor business doesn't have a great reputation for delivering a great customer experience. So let's be the company that disrupts that industry. Let's be the company that drives change and differentiates ourselves from the rest of the contractors out there. From a sales perspective, study after study shows that people buy the customer experience over the products and service. How many of you truly like Starbucks coffee? How many of you pay 20, 30% more to go get it? Chris mentioned Chick-fil-A. You'll sit through that drive-through line 20 deep because of the experience. And you'll pay a little bit more for that combo meal you get. The customer experience is what people buy. So how do we drive that customer experience? It is led by you. It's led by our people. But it's supported by our technology. And they have to be able to work together. Every person in every department sitting in this room has an impact on the customer experience. The customer experience builds brand loyalty. So when we talk about marketing, it's not Valerie, and it's not me. It is all of us. It's every time we're in front of a customer. It's every time we speak to a customer. It's our sales team out in the marketplace. It's every one of us. Like I said, we're building brand loyalty. Who wants to fill a seat and help us build that loyalty? Chris talked about referrals. With all the dollars that we spend in marketing, still today, one of our top 2, every month when Valerie and I look at this, one of our top 2 lead generators is referrals. That's loyalty. And that's what we want to build. In closing, the growth and development of people is the highest calling of leadership. I'm excited to be part of this team, and I'm excited to see the impact EOS has on our 7-year goals. Team, together, everyone achieves more. I look forward to working with all of you as we work to reach these goals, and I'm excited to see where this takes us. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to introduce you to Shannon Carter.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning. I'm Shannon. Quick background about me. I went to college in Virginia, got a communications degree, and spent my early 20s in broadcast television. This is where I met my husband, and we would later go on to operate a video production company for 10 years in the Louisville market. But 28 years ago is when my journey began at USS. In 1994, at 26, when I started part-time at United Dynamics, as Valerie shared, Chris was already growing USS out of his dorm room at Trevecca. Fast forward 5 years later, and the time presented itself to bid a friendly farewell to the corporate hub in southern Indiana and establish a permanent location in Middle Tennessee. So November of '99, my husband and I packed up and headed south with our 3-year-old, our 1-year-old, 2 dogs, and a cat. The following few years after we relocated expanded my knowledge beyond customer service and into group health, workman's comp and liability, licensing, and payroll assistance. Vision took root, services expanded, more employees, new departments, great sales team, skilled production. This company has been so blessed through the years. So much so that this is why the management team is so pumped up about the EOS system. This system is already providing traction to the groundwork that Mike and Chris have led by for years. My seat on this accountability chart represents the heart of who I am, and that is to provide the best support for our customers and for this incredible group of people in this room who also support our customers. Starting with Customer Care Center. It's the first impression of the company. Chris Vitito just talked about revolutionizing the customer experience. Well, we're going to continue getting creative and thinking outside the box. When we move into other markets, how will our customer care interact differently from the competition? We're going to approach this the USS way. EOS is already preparing our think tanks. We're going to start soon with technology software improvement. We'll be upgrading our phones to a virtual platform. It'll integrate with Salesforce to create a seamless communication for all those incoming calls, texting, emails, and online requests. We're better positioning this department to train and equip future team members. We have a great customer care team, but we are going to have more seats to fill, and we're going to need to do that so we can prep and get ready for the expansion. This will lend itself to a management position. I'm going to need someone to oversee this corporate hub. Moving on to warranty. Whereas the customer care is the first impression, the warranty department continues that relationship with the customer. The 4 core values are operated on steroids every day in this department. Be respectful and humbly confident. Be committed to our customer. Be a problem solver and doing the job with excellence. Warranty has invested decades into cultivating trust and integrity to the marketplace we serve. For USS to continue our 7-year trajectory, it is imperative that we continue improving our products and services. And this happens through ongoing discovery and feedback of what's working and what's not. Casey's team, to include Tommy and Amanda, is a prime example of how experienced and motivated employees are able to plug in with their skill set to grow a department. And more importantly, to grow it in a way that's committed to helping all of us move forward with a common purpose. Office administration and IT. This is the big umbrella of making sure that technology and software is leveraging a smooth flow of customer and employee communications and keeping our data relevant and protected. Since the year 2000, our appointment and production calendars have quadrupled. The company has navigated through 2 database migrations, but in the fall of 2020, while the world was slowing down from a pandemic, Chris, always focused on the future, felt the time was approaching. I fully agreed and began researching into a cloud-based CRM, one that would be robust enough to put together all these departmental pieces. Further positions that will be needed in this area is going to be an office manager. And we're going to need an in-house IT department, as you heard Chris mention earlier. In closing, myself, along with 6 other people on this stage, are committed to the growth opportunities for those of you who partner up with us day after day after day. And we're excited about this journey we're going on. I would now like to introduce you to our next seat holder on the executive team, production operations, Jason Suter.
Thank you, Shannon. I'd like to echo Chris and shout out to 24 Church for letting us use their facilities this morning. I want to say to you, my daughter was part of the youth group here. Her name's Braden. I've been to a few services here. If you're looking for a place to throw down with some worship, they do it here. All right? All right. So my seat is the production operations seat. And as you can see, my responsibilities are scheduling, facility maintenance, inventory, production, equipment maintenance, and process management. Brian, if you know me, I don't schedule, okay? I don't put guys with you, Manny. I don't. But I work with Mary, Andy, Kathy. They do a great job of getting that done. As far as I don't work out when we're going to cut the grass, when we're going to bag gravel, and I don't order inventory, but I work with Carl Parshall, very capable man who gets that done. Production, we are tasked with getting $415,000 of business closed in a week. I don't do that, but I work together with Billy, Alan, Bruce, Brian, the graduates, to make sure that we get that in. Equipment maintenance. Guys, I struggle to change my own oil, okay? I don't do equipment maintenance, but I work with Jacob C. He sits in my office. We talk about what we need to do to keep the stuff running. And then process management. Process management is something we're going to be discussing. That's getting everybody on the same page, doing the same thing so that we can guarantee that best. I can't do that alone. I'll be working with Ricky, with team leaders, and with you to make sure that we get that together. Who I work with is an excellent group of people. What I can do is the LMA part, the lead, manage, and accountability. And that's where I'm going to grow my strengths. I started here December 2nd, 2014. I started at the bottom of the totem pole learning to dig and prep. That was about 7 years ago. 7 years ago, when we completed our first year, that was 2015, we could not have imagined what this facility in Pleasant View was going to look like. We couldn't imagine that we would have the Belfast facility. You guys woke up real early this morning to get here. We couldn't imagine that we would have that 7 years ago. Things have changed a lot. 7 years ago, we have over 80 production staffers in here right now. And 7 years ago, there are over 20 of us that our jobs didn't even exist 7 years ago. 7 years ago, we had a determination to be the best, to grow, and to expand. And to my knowledge, that was the plan 7 years ago. With that motivation, we grew, we expanded, and we maintained best status. Now, what is EOS? EOS is a way for a business to organize, realize, and achieve goals. A way to manage a business in order for that business to flourish through its people flourishing. EOS brings accountability where it may have been lacking. So in order for us to achieve these 1 year, 3 year, and 7 year goals, what USS is going to need is for some people in this room, men and women, to step up. We cannot do the same and expect different. So if you work here and you're like, hey, I like working here, right? I like working here. Manny, you tell me that. You like working here. But I can't see myself fill in the blank right there. Fill in the blank. Can't see myself doing that for the rest of my life. This is your time. This is your time. We are looking for that person that says, I want to be here. I want to grow. We're going to need to duplicate the positions we have now. We're going to need to duplicate those. We saw that we're going to be in 5 markets in 7 years. We're going to need to duplicate ourselves, and we're going to need to come up with some positions we probably haven't even thought of yet. I'm going to go ahead and share with you throughout the years. There's been a few key things that were shared with me throughout the years that I've adopted and helped me in this, and I'm going to throw those out. One, Billy Moore told me early on, you want to go somewhere here, pal, show up early. Because when you show up early, people know they can count on you. Thank you, Billy. I took that to heart. Real early on, Brian Rancorn told me, he said, man, you're slow. If you want to go somewhere here, pal, you're going to have to learn how to dig faster. I took that to heart. That helped me. I hear Ricky Barnes say, boss today. No matter what's going on in my life, no matter what's going on this job, no matter what's going on this, I'm going to boss where I'm at right now. I'm going to take care of where I'm at right now and the responsibility that I have, because when I do that, people know they can count on me. And I hear Chris Smith say, excel at the easy. Be excellent at easy, right? What's easy? Waking up in the morning. It's easy. Be excellent at it. Having a backup plan for when your battery goes out. I can have a backup plan for that, or for when your tire goes flat. I'm going to go ahead and tell you 2 things. One, it's my birthday today, and when I woke up this morning, I had my first flat tire. I've always said that. I talked to you guys in interviews about that, and I got here today. Now, when my family wakes up and realizes I took one of their vehicles, I don't know what they're going to do, but have me a backup plan. Guys, I want to tell you, I count myself blessed to work with the people in this room. Count myself blessed. And I find myself eager, dare I say pumped, to see how we will rise. And to look around this room and wonder who will rise. Our time's here. All right, I thank you. And introduce Ricky Barnes in the training seat.
Thank you, Jason. As he said, I hold the training seat on our executive team, and I have to say that's a huge honor for me. A lot of you might know some of my story and know how much that means to me. That's where the journey is now. That's not where it started. To go back where it started, you got to go back to 2002. I started with the company on August 26th of 2002. I was 19 at the time. Very little work experience and a little bit of college experience dropping out of that, a couple semesters, art school and tech school. Realized it wasn't for me. Had the job recommended to me from a friend named Jonathan Ross. I met with Mike and Chris at USS, interviewed, and started work. That was a rocky start, to say the least. I'm sure that Alan and Chad probably have some fun stories about watching me pretend like I knew everything. I knew nothing. I did not understand how a shovel could move sideways, but Chad promised me it was possible. I believe him now. Like I said, I was as green as they come. I didn't know much. And after I finally decided that I valued the 5-day schedule rather than my preferred 4, and I decided I could get here on time, they allowed me to stick around long enough to become part of the team, which was only 12 people at the time. So it's pretty amazing to look around and see what we see now. That next year was 2003. We moved the operation to Pleasant View at the boat factory. And we all worked on renovating that together. It was a pretty amazing experience. You saw some of those pictures on the slideshow earlier. And then soon after, it was 2005 that I was blessed with Chris Smith pulling me and my friend Elliot Crota in the office and letting us know that due to growth, we were going to be needing to run jobs. He asked us if we were willing, and we accepted that challenge. It was a huge day for me. Meant a whole lot to me. And that grew. There was a lot of signs of growth going on around the company. There was production trucks showing up. There was sales staff increasing. Sales numbers were increasing. The facility was changing. Like I said, we were adding people, but those weren't the only signs of growth. One of the biggest changes, I think, in USS was when Mike and Chris began investing in each of our personal growth. Mike and Chris began to hold meetings in the mornings and on Saturdays even, and pulling us off site and start teaching us about different principles that didn't have a whole lot to do with digging a hole. They started talking about leadership principles, communication skills, relationship skills, servant leadership. They started talking about work ethic, integrity, and personality styles. This stuff really began to appeal to me. Naturally, as a young guy, I liked people. I liked seeing how people operated. I liked personality, psychology. This stuff really intrigued me, so I took an interest. And over time, Mike began to encourage me to continue that interest. He began to talk about that library. That library was being developed that Chris mentioned earlier. Mike began to offer me those books and encourage me to read. I think he knows that I didn't at first, but eventually I did. And that completely changed my perspective. I had a new thoughts coming in. Something new came into me. And there was something special about those meetings that I forgot to mention that I think we probably took for granted, those of us that were here. But there just so happened to be breakfast off in the corner, usually, either in the form of donuts or biscuits. And I think we all valued that. It made us feel taken care of, but I'm sure we took it for granted. And there was one pivotal moment that changed my experience, and that was when, after one of the meetings, Mike pulled me to the side, and he handed me a phone number, and he said, from now on, I want you to pick up the biscuits, don't be late, and don't forget. And any of you that have had eye contact from Mike know that I knew he meant it, and I did not want to let him down. And so I worked not to. And I didn't understand the significance in that request then, like I do now. I thought I know that it wasn't just a task he was getting rid of. I realize now that he was showing me a principle of humility. He was giving me an opportunity to do something to serve somebody else that didn't directly benefit me. They may never even know that I was doing it, but it was a task behind the scenes that helped me develop my character, which was going to be needed if I was going to be expected to lead one day. And I see that now. Thank you, Mike. That eventually developed into where Mike gave me the biggest honor of my career, and he asked me to start leading the foreman meetings and start teaching you guys and sharing some of the same stuff that I had learned with you guys, which many of you might know. I've shared this with you. That's my biggest honor in my life. It's why I'm still here. It's completely shaped me and changed me. You don't learn quite as well as you do when you teach something. And that's how I've spent most of my career over the last several years, holding those meetings, sharing those things with you, coming alongside you, trying to teach you the same principles that built my character, and then hopping in a truck and going out and doing that work just like you were. Until about 3 years ago, Mike and Chris approached me and invited me to become training director and pass the work truck to someone else and go into that field full time. And so now, over the last 3.5 years, that's developed to where I'm now working with the marketing department and building video content, filming myself and others do the work that I used to do. And that's where the journey is now, and being invited to be the executive team, which, like I said, is an honor. Why do I tell you this in this setting when we're rolling out EOS? Because in 2002, nothing that's visible right now was visible then. We had fears, we had reluctance, we had doubts, we had skepticism, and several of us moved forward in faith, and somebody invested in us and eventually encouraged us to invest in ourselves, and change happened. I say that because a large portion of the room may be feeling and wondering, why does this apply? Why are we talking about this? And when you break it down to me doing the remedial task that I'm doing, how does the future apply at USS to me? And I want to say that as we're addressing this, there is no department in our company that's more valuable than the other. All of this stuff applies to all of us. And what I think is key about EOS is, Chris already mentioned this before, but all of those principles that Mike worked to foster into this company and that came from him to build the passion and the culture is bred and embedded into EOS. It's going to give us the ability to do something that has been a major challenge for us as we had these meetings over the years, which is how do we grow the company and maintain the culture? We do not want to water this down, and so sometimes growth was inhibited and held back just to make sure that we didn't lose the culture. The people are the most important thing. What EOS does is give us the organization and the clarity to scale this business like we want to. And so if you're like me and having started at the very entry level and dealing with those doubts coming up of wondering one question, is this where my career is going to be? And wondering if I'm wasting time. There's a skepticism. I had a hard time committing, like a lot of you may. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just me. But those questions for me of doubt and fear were answered over the course of a long time, 20 years of having those questions and those experiences with the ownership to affirm in me that I did, in fact, have a career. If your eyes are open today and your ears are listening, what's being said is that answer is yes for you, if you want it. Does that mean that an opportunity is going to just fall out in front of you? No. It means, as I said before, if something new is going to come out of you, you have to make an investment and put something new into you. And I believe wholeheartedly that we would not be in the position that we're in right now to even make these decisions without everybody in this room. But like Chris said, what got us here won't get us where we're going. And for me personally, I'm looking forward to seeing who is that person that's eager with their hand raised for opportunity to wonder where their place is going to be in this future, because it really has no limits. And I just want to thank each and every one of you. And with that, I will invite our next seat of accounting, Ms. Lee Boucher.
Thank you, Ricky. Good morning. I don't know about y'all, but that's fired me up. They have certainly cast the vision of the company that Chris has talked about, and talked about how it's going to affect their departments. This light is blinding. I would much rather see your faces than this giant light, but I will do my best here. One time I heard a preacher say that if that doesn't fire you up, your wood is wet. And that's how I feel about what I've heard so far. So before I talk about the growth of the company and how EOS and the vision that Chris has cast for us is going to impact my department, I've been asked to give you a brief background into my previous work history before coming to USS. So those of y'all who know, I've been here since 2001. I started working out part-time so that I could accommodate the needs of my growing family, my small children, and to meet the needs of the company. At the time, we really didn't need my position to be full-time. Prior to that, I worked for the Tennessee Comptroller of the Treasury. I was an auditor for 15 years, and I also have a certified public accountant. But in 1999, I left my state of Tennessee job to become more involved with my children. And in 2001, Kenny Williams, who I went to church with at the time, called me and approached me and said, would you be interested in working for this new company that I have become involved with? So long story short, right, Janice? I had a conversation with Mike's wife, Janice, on the phone. And then after an interview with Mike, Chris, and Shannon in the old office there on Whites Creek Pike, which was actually Chris's old bedroom, there was no bed in there when I had my interview. I learned through that meeting that this is where God was directing me to be. And so from 2001 and 2006, I worked on a part-time basis. I would come in the office, gather the mail, the documents that I needed. I would work from home, and then I would just repeat that process week after week. And then as my children grew, as the company grew, my responsibilities to help manage the company grew. And so my role here has just grown beyond my wildest imagination. I could have never dreamed that I would be up here on this executive team. I count it a great blessing, one of my greatest blessings actually in life, to be a part of this team, to be a part of this company, and to all be working in unity together for one goal. But as I look out here and as I saw the picture on the screen earlier where you saw the USS in the background, and then you saw all of our picture from our Christmas party, all of those people in that picture, all the people in this room are USS. You are the company. We are the company. And together we all perform the responsibilities and duties that make us that successful company that we are in the marketplace. I hear it a lot, that not just our slogan, we guarantee our best, but I hear people tell us that they think we're the best. They refer us, and it's all because of the people in this room. But as we continue to grow in this market and in the other markets, we're going to need other people to step up and to be ready to lead. In my accounting and HR department, we're going to have to grow. We're going to have to change. We're going to have to find new ways to support each one of you. So in my department, you know, Chris is marketing to customers, and Jason's getting production done, and you all are out selling and producing. Our customer in HR and accounting is really you. We're here to support you, to make sure that you have the tools and the resources that you need to do your job. As you can see on the slide behind me, my accountability, my seat includes financial resources, or financial reporting, human resources, compliance, office management, legal, and contract management. And I'm sure you're all out there hoping that I do not explain any of those, right? I will not bore you with that. But I have an amazing team of people who work with me who love those details, who love to work in the details, because the responsibilities in each of those areas are very detailed and very specific. But the whole purpose of those details that we handle on a daily basis are so that we can provide a solid financial foundation for the company, and so that you have the tools and the resources to provide for your family, to do the job that you have, and to do the role that you have here at USS. As we continue to add employees, new products, and new markets, we're going to have to be innovative in my department. Come up with new ways to do things, new ways to support you and to help you accomplish your goal. We're going to be a hub, as someone said before me, of all the accounting and the HR activities. How are we going to accomplish the things that are before us? So some of the things that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to implement new systems to electronically gather accounting data from 5 markets. How are we going to onboard people in other cities and in other states? We're going to have to come up with processes to accomplish that. We're going to have, as Shannon said, an in-house IT and mobile device manager to handle all the phones, iPads, computers for 40 production crews, 22 salesmen, and all the office staff. That's a lot of IT. I'm going to have a team of accounting people to handle all the accounts receivable, accounts payable, credit cards, the financial reporting that's required for $42 million of revenue in various states. It's very detailed and very specific. A payroll department, not just one, but a payroll department to handle and oversee onboarding all the employees, processing weekly payroll for 200 people in 3 markets by year 3. And then an HR management team that will be responsible for the employee health benefits, all of our health insurance plans, our 401k, managing and overseeing those so that we, again, have the resources and the tools to allow you to help you provide for your family. So as Shannon said, as the company continues to grow, as we add people and markets and products, we've got to start thinking outside the box, not just in my department, but in every department. So as I was preparing this talk, as I'm scribbling my notes out on the back porch yesterday, some of y'all may have seen me sit out there, I kept using the phrase, our jobs. But as I thought about it, I said, you know what? It's not our job. It's our roles, R-O-L-E-S. And I see those two things as very different. Serving a role in a growing company is very different than doing a job. The difference is ownership. If you do a job, you just do what somebody's asked you to do with no ownership in the process. But if you're fulfilling a role, you're taking responsibility and ownership for that process. And then you're making sure that you've completed the end goal, that you've met that end goal. So as this company continues to grow, we're going to need more people to fulfill roles in this company, not just work a job. So there are great growth opportunities on the horizon. Do you feel the excitement, or is your wood wet? You have to decide how and where you'll grow. So I'd like to introduce Rob Myers, our general manager.
Good morning. I want to kind of echo what some have said. It's a pleasure to be here today, to be able to stand in front of you and address this company. This would never have been in my dreams growing up, or even in my early time as an adult. So I just want to share with you a little bit about me. I mean, I've known many of you for years. I mean, there are a lot of us that go way back. But some of you, you've only known me for a short time. You know me as the old gray-haired guy that stands out there in the morning with a coffee cup glaring at you. And why are you still here? Why haven't you got out of, why aren't you on the road? Why are you still here? And you probably think, man, that's all he's done all his life, what a boring existence. So, but I just wanted to go back and just give you a little bit of history. Lee and I share something in common about how we came to USS, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. Like several of you, there's several of you that we all grew up in this community. We just live a few miles down the road for a lot of us. We have a short commute. Most of my childhood was spent working on the farm, raising tobacco, cutting hay, feeding cows. This is where I learned about working hard, being responsible, being accountable, and that if you wanted something in life, you had to work for it and you had to earn it. I was always taught that there was nothing that was given out for free. Like most of you, I couldn't wait to get out of high school. I didn't even have a clue about what type of job I wanted to do, or much less a career. I'd always thought about serving my country, so after high school, I joined the Tennessee Army National Guard. I went off to basic training, I went to AIT, and lo and behold, I became a tank mechanic. It was just a great job. I came home, I got married, and I started life. I was very fortunate early on to be able to work full-time for the National Guard. It was a great job. I did that for 21 years until I retired in 2006. Turned wrenches every day. That's what I did to earn my living, to support my family. I had great leaders within that organization that challenged me, they encouraged me, and they prepared me, even though I didn't realize it, for the next phase of my life. In the fall of 2005, I was up in Lowe's in Springfield, and I ran into Kenny Williams. Kenny and I went to church together just like Lee and I went to church together. We ran into each other up at Lowe's, and I told him about my plans to retire in the spring, coming up. And we parted ways, and lo and behold, a few days later, he calls me up and says, "Hey, would you be interested in coming to work at this company I've become involved with called USS?" I had never even heard of this company. I didn't know what they did. I definitely didn't have a solid plan for what I was going to do when I retired. I was going to have a lawn mowing business, and I'd kind of started that, but that really probably wasn't a solid plan to support my family. So my wife said, "Hey, what have you got to lose? Go ride with Kenny for a few days and see what you can find out about this company called USS." So in September of 2005, I spent 3 days, took 3 days of vacation from my job, hopped in a truck with Kenny, and we ran all over Middle Tennessee looking at cracked brick and bowing walls. I didn't have a clue as to what I was looking at, but that's all it took. I was hooked from that point on. Before I could come on board, Kenny said I had to go meet with Mike Smith. He was one of the owners of USS. So I went down to the office there, and I met with Mike, and he said, "Hey, have you ever thought about earning a living with your mind versus your hands?" I said, "No, I really hadn't, but I'm willing to give that mind thing a try, I'll give it a try." So he said, "Well, I can teach you. If you're willing to listen, if you're willing to learn, I'm willing to do that for you." And I said, "Okay." But before I could get out of there, he handed me something called a personality test, and I had to go home and take that, had to bring it back. I guess I passed because they've let me stay for all these years. So after that, I began running leads part-time while I still had my full-time job, and eventually started full-time in the summer of 2006 after my retirement. I've had the pleasure to serve on the sales team for 10 years. And in 2016, I had the opportunity to move into the office in a training role and still got to work with the sales team. It was a great time. And since then, I've had the pleasure of serving as a general manager since 2017. What I really wanted to talk to you about is during my years at USS, a lot of positive change and a growth has happened in my life due to the opportunities that became available. I have witnessed the same for many of you sitting in this room. Many of us here today, we're working, serving in a role that didn't exist 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and for some of you, it didn't exist 6 months ago. So the opportunity is there. Without change, there is no growth, and without growth, there's no opportunity. Our mission statement is improving lives by guaranteeing our best. Zig Ziglar once stated that success occurs when opportunity meets preparation. Most of us here today, again, we're in a position that didn't exist years ago. Opportunities will happen. So ask yourself, what am I doing to prepare myself for success? As the executive team, we know that EOS is a system that will move USS beyond where it is today. We have been operating within this EOS system for about 6 months and have experienced the traction that has occurred from our weekly Level 10 meetings. On the screen behind me, you can see what my responsibilities are. Every one of us is responsible for LMA, lead management accountability, air traffic control. It's what Chris talked about earlier. Knowing about every department and how that department operates. I don't have to run those departments, but I have to be there to be a liaison and help across the board solve any problems. I'm responsible for EOS to make sure that we are following EOS, that it is implemented, that it's understood, that it's explained. And finally, the vision execution. And that's where I'm going to go now. I'm going to stand before you today, and these are my commitments to you. Number one, I commit to you to understand the vision for USS that has been defined by our visionary and to make sure that the vision is executed. I commit to challenge everyone to do the uncomfortable and to grow beyond what you think is possible. Never let anyone tell you that you can't achieve a dream or reach a goal that you set for yourself. I will promote continuous training in all departments at all levels. Training never stops at USS. You heard something mentioned not long ago, a few slides back, about USS University. I'm really excited about that. You're going to learn more about it coming up. I commit to be accountable to you and to hold each of you accountable as well. And lastly, I commit to listen to understand, to provide encouragement, and to celebrate in your successes. I am so excited about the future, your future, and the future of USS. Now I'll turn this back over to our visionary, Chris Smith.
I hold the visionary seat, and I need to tell you how I got there. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background, my early years, and it'll kind of help explain how I got to be where I'm at today. I grew up in a mansion. My father was an entrepreneur. My grandfather was a builder and mason, and his father was a rancher. That's what I perceive. But the outside world, looking at my family, would have seen that my mansion that I lived in was a double wide, and I walked to school. My father was a developing entrepreneur. My grandfather was a mason. He had about 2 people that worked for him, and he worked up till the day that he died. My great-grandfather, that was the rancher, he ranched for somebody else. He was a sharecropper. So I look at that, I said, how do I get to be a visionary? I think everybody in my family has believed that they aren't stuck where they're at. And they've looked and they've believed in the future. I am who I am because of my father, my grandfather, and my great-grandfather. I grew up in southern Indiana, kind of a wannabe athlete, played every sport that my school offered. I wasn't the most talented like I like to think that I was when you think back on your high school years of being an athlete, but I was a starting player, again, not because of skill, but because of hustle. I can't help but think that that hustle wasn't started by what my great-grandfather wanted to do. I look at something that Jason said, something that I mentioned is, I've always looked at, I'm not the best, I'm not the smartest, but what I can do is I can hustle. And I can do everything that's easy with excellence. That mansion that I told you about, it was close to our school. I walked to school. Sometimes in the snow, but no, it wasn't uphill both ways. I love my school. I went on to go to, well, matter of fact, my school, I need to brag a little bit more. I've told you about my mansion. I graduated 16th in my class. I love telling that story. I usually don't tell the rest of the story. It was a small school. There was only 16 people. Yeah, it's a true story, actually. I moved to Nashville, but before I moved to Nashville, Mike had retired from the insurance business and started chasing this dream of keeping homes dry and stable. I had always seen him wear a suit to work when he was in the insurance business, and that was nothing that really had me real excited about wanting to be in the insurance business. But then one day he came home a little bit dirty, because when he started his business, it was just him and his partner. It wasn't a team of people. It wasn't a big office. And he was dressed a little bit different, and he was dirty. And I liked that because I like to hustle. So 28 years, actually 30-something years ago, I got started in this business with a shovel in my hand. And I couldn't be more thankful that I have seen this business from the crawl space to the bottom of the hole all the way up to where it is today. So the seat that I hold, it's the visionary. I'm going to be keeping up with industry trends. I'm working on long-term strategies. The GPS, my goal is to guide this company. It's my commitment. I'm going to work on the culture with this team and those of you that help lead us out there. I'm going to be working on problem solving and other creativity. But because of you and because of the team that's up here on this, they've given me the opportunity to release myself of daily responsibilities so that I can dream and try and come up with more ideas. And that's why we're here today. We're sharing where all we are going to go. So in closing, I'm proud of this company, and I'm proud of you. I appreciate your attention this morning. The future is bright. The future is big, and we are ready to launch. Unknown opportunities await, and someone will soon fill these spots. So my question is, why not you?